Now, next, we've seen them on social media, appeals asking for help in finding missing people. Chances are you've shared them in the hope someone in your network has that vital detail that could help a family clearly in distress. However, there's a rising demand in scammers using social media posts for their own nasty work. Joanne Dorian's sister Lisa went missing back in 2005. Andrea Garsala's daughter, Georgina, went missing in 2018. And they've both been exploited and their situations exploited by these gangsters on social media. I spoke to them both earlier, began by asking Andrea how Georgina disappeared.
Georgina left my home that morning on the 7th of March 2018. She was going to go into the town. She had an appointment at the job centre, various other things she was going to do. Asked me for a couple of pounds and said, "See you later, Mummy." And that was the last time I ever saw her. She was seen on CCTV later that morning around 10 a.m. in a shop, a little convenience store. And then 18 months later, some CCTV came to light of her in the midst of the same day, but it wasn't found until 18 months later, of her in the town centre around 4 p.m. that day with a female that has never been identified until now. And that's the only ever sightings that we've ever, there's ever been found. And in 2019, Georgina's investigation was recorded as a no-body homicide, but with no evidence at all. Just because of the proof of life test, they couldn't prove that Georgina was alive. So the National Crime Agency advised the police to record her case as a no-body homicide, which we didn't accept, because I said there's no evidence. You haven't found any of her belongings. Nobody's witnessed her coming to any harm. So until that time, for us, she's still there somewhere. We need to find out what happened or where. And that's what I'm still doing till now, and that's what I've been doing for 5 years.
My goodness, must be exhausting, Andrea. How old was Georgina?
She was 30 when we last saw her. She should be 36 this year. She's got two boys who were 6 and 7 when they last saw their mummy, and they're now nearly 13 and 14.
And just, it's nearly until, I guess, it happens to you, beyond belief that someone can disappear off the face of the earth.
Yeah,
Boom,
it's just not something that you ever think of. Never. It's something probably that happens to other people. You never think about it. You read it in the papers before, but once it happens to you, it just becomes your life, and it takes over your life, and that's how your life just rolls with it every single day. Every single day.
And what I'm wanting to talk to you both about tonight, because I know Joanne's listening, is how people then take advantage of the situation and try to exploit the situation. But before we hear your stories around that, Andrea, I'm sure you'll be able to identify with Joanne, who's also with us this evening. Hello, Joanne.
Hi.
I know the story about your sister Lisa very well, because of course we live in Northern Ireland.
Yes, of course.
But for those who don't, describe to people what happened back in 2005 when Lisa went missing.
Sure, 2005, so 18 years we've been living without Lisa. Lisa was 25 years old and just enjoying life. She had a job, she partied at the weekend, she was out with so-called friends. She was just having a good time, and she went to a party one night on the 28th of February 2005, and since then we've never seen or heard from her again. We have a live murder investigation with the PSNI, so we do believe that Lisa has been murdered. We are aware of who we believe has murdered Lisa. So we're working towards justice, but we're also working towards finding Lisa. And that's why we have such a large social media presence through our Let's Find Lisa campaign.
So, look, the trauma of what has happened to you both, the not knowing, the lack of closure, And then on top of all of that, you've got people trying to exploit you and the scams.
Yeah,
Joanne, what scams have you encountered?
Well, we had a fundraising drive for Lisa last year where we wanted to raise money to pay someone as a reward for information leading to the recovery of Lisa's body. You know, we are sure that we know who has killed Lisa, but we need to know where she is. And we do believe that a small number of people in Northern Ireland know where her body is now. And after 18 years, we would do anything to try and find that. So we raised £65,000. But in the midst of that, what we found was we used the fundraising platform GoFundMe. We found that people on Twitter had actually cloned our accounts, and they were using our account name, Let's Find Lisa. They were using all of our photographs. But the @ underneath on Twitter was very different. But people were not looking at that. They were just seeing that it looked like Lisa's account, and they were sending money to a PayPal account that didn't belong to us. Now, luckily, we got it taken down very quickly, but the potential there was for people to lose a lot of money to people who were really preying on our vulnerabilities and on people's kind nature. And I just really felt that level of scam, you know, kind of sunk lower than low.
So tell me what they did again. They took Lisa's image and did what with it?
They created a new account on Twitter that looked like Lisa's account, but you know, the @ underneath, yours would be @Stephen Nolan, mine is at Let's Find Lisa. Their @ was different, but people weren't looking at that in such detail. So they basically created an account and said they were fundraising for Lisa, as we were. They were copying our posts, but they put a PayPal link up, and we did not have a PayPal account. So the money was going to a scammer's account, and it was being sent by friends and family, and the money was lost forever.
Did they get much?
I actually have no idea how much they got, because I obviously had people contacting me saying I've donated to your PayPal. And as soon as I realised, you know, they were sending me messages, I said, we don't have PayPal, we're only using GoFundMe. We were able then to speak to PayPal, speak to Twitter, and eventually get those accounts all taken down. But I don't know the full amount. But the potential in the future, even for other accounts, you know, is massive. And it's just really a warning to use social media very carefully, especially around missing people. People are giving money very generously and hoping to help a certain cause, like Lisa's, you know, missing case. But unfortunately, they were just playing straight into the hands of the scammers.
And how do the scammers stop themselves being traced by the police? How can the police not follow the money?
I've no idea, because when it's, you know, reported to the police, it's one or two kind of small misdemeanors. You know, it needs to be a bigger kind of issue. And with missing person scams, they are on the rise. So I think it will get to the point where the police will have to action them. But when you look at one or two small things, the World Wide Web is too large for the likes of the PSNI to trace one or two rogue payments, as they would see them. But it really does have the potential to cause a lot of serious harm.
What's it feel like when it's done?
It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible because we're living with this ambiguous loss every day of our lives. We're living without Lisa for 18 years. We're living with trying to think of every idea under the sun to try and get information as to where she is. We know Lisa's not coming back alive, and we have accepted that in some way. And all we're asking is to be able to give her, a respectful burial. That's all we're asking for. So when people actually prey on that just for financial gain, it really sickened us as a family, and we felt very sorry for the people who had donated money.